The LA Times and the Daily Beast are reporting on a really serious issue that's not getting nearly enough attention. They say, quote, as California continues to endure a historic drought, Governor Jerry Brown has implemented the state's first ever mandatory water restrictions. By doing so, he hopes to reduce usage by 25%. That's ambitious, man. A quarter of it? Brown's plans include requiring large landscaped areas like golf courses and cemeteries to reduce water consumption, increase drought-tolerant landscaping, offer rebate programs to replace out-of-date appliances with water-efficient ones, and require all new homes to be water-efficient. Okay, you know what this is? This is a fucking siren, if I ever heard one. This is a warning shot in the air. This is like, whoa. Look at what's happening. All right, the drought in California is fucking crazy. It's bananas. They need some ridiculous amount of rain just to get back to what their baseline should be. An amount of rain that they're not going to get because it's not even possible to get that amount of rain. So what's happening is climate change is not this thing, this abstract thing, which is an idea or a hypothesis that's going to occur at some indiscriminate date at some point in the future when you and I are long gone and, oh, it sucks for our grandkids or their grandkids, kids, or whatever. No, it's happening right now. Climate change is right in front of our faces. We're already at a level that we didn't think we were going to see a decade ago or 2 decades ago. And that's why every time you see a headline about climate change in a respected journal or news outlet, it always says, scientists say it's worse than the worst scenario predicted X amount of years ago. And it is. It is. And now we're seeing the effects right in front of our faces. A mandatory 25% cut in water usage in California. A quarter of the water is cut in California, and it's mandatory. What's going to happen to us? I mean, I know fear-mongering. It's not fear-mongering. I'm giving you facts. This is the policy they just implemented out of necessity. So what's going to happen to California? As I was reading the article, I was getting chills up my spine. I'm like, what's going to happen to California? Is it going to be there in 100 years? Are they going to have no water whatsoever? And by the way, where are they going to bring the water in from? That's my question. Because remember, in a lot of places in the Midwest, for example, and in the West, they get their fresh water from snowcaps on mountaintops. Well, what happens when there are no more snowcaps on mountaintops because of climate change? And then the typical response would have been, well, Kyle, calm down. There's some underwater reservoirs that they could use. Now, the problem with those is, because of fracking, it's exempt from the Clean Water and Clean Air Act. You could thank Dick Cheney for that. And now you have all the underground reservoirs are contaminated with fracking fluid. So where the fuck are you going to get your water from? What are you going to do? I mean, you want to talk about a pipeline. Instead of building the Keystone XL pipeline down through the U.S., you should be building a Antarctic pipeline that brings water, fresh water, into California and into the Midwest. You should have been working on that a decade ago. If this doesn't get people's ass in gear, and if this doesn't make the federal government really put this shit into hyperdrive to really totally cut off the fossil fuels, I don't know what will, man. If you were to try to craft up a fictional scenario to give people an incentive to get off our ass and start doing something about climate change, it would be the set of facts that exist right now. Like, how many more extreme weather events do we need to happen? How many more droughts? How many more wildfires? How many more tsunamis? How many more increased numbers of tornadoes and powerful tornadoes during tornado season? How much more sea level rise? How many more years do we have to see headlines about this is the warmest winter on record, this is the warmest year on record? How many more of these things do we need before people go, okay, you know what? Maybe California shouldn't be alone in trying to fight this in this way, and this is a fucking last-ditch effort, if you can't tell, a 25% mandatory cut. Maybe the federal government in America, but also governments all around the world should say, you know this whole fossil fuel thing? Phased out in 10 years. How about that? Phase it out! Phase it out! I mean, we were doing a story yesterday. I don't know if it got to YouTube, but there's a Republican area in Texas that went 100% clean energy, 100%. And you know what they said? They're like, look, this doesn't even have anything to do with climate change, man. It's just common sense because we save money in the process. It costs less now to do green technology. It costs less to do solar and wind, which is the way that they went. And like, this just makes sense from a dollar and cents perspective. Well, look, that's the case for everybody, everywhere in the world. How many billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars, will climate change cost us? We have to address this, man. The oil companies need to stop. They have a stranglehold on our government, and there's so much corruption that you can't fucking see straight. That's why you still see subsidies to oil companies as we're ruining the planet with fossil fuels. We need to go 100% in the direction of solar and wind and geothermal and thorium and all types of renewable technology and or renewable energy and green technology, because it's at the breaking point now, man. We can't hide anymore. A mandatory 25% cut in water intake in California. Really sit there and let that soak in your mind for a second. A 25% cut, mandatory cut in water consumption in California. I didn't think I'd ever see that in my lifetime.